Behind the towering gates of Buckingham Palace, where the past clings to every corridor, and the air carries whispers of history, something quietly extraordinary is unfolding. Not a royal scandal, not a headline-grabbing rift, though the monarchy has seen its share, but a subtle shift in power, emotion, and symbolism. This year's Trooping the Colour will be grand, as always. Over 1,300 soldiers from the Household Division, 250 infantry guards, 300 musicians, and the Royal Air Force thundering overhead in a dramatic flypast. The pageantry, precision, and pomp will, as ever, enchant millions. But for those watching closely, it's not the glittering uniforms or synchronized marches that carry the deepest meaning this year. It's the quiet, deliberate presence of one woman. A woman who has grown from quiet girlfriend to one of the most beloved and unifying figures in royal life today, Catherine, Princess of Wales. And on June 14, 2025, she won't just be present. She'll be pivotal. In a decision that is as personal as it is political, King Charles III has made a choice that's stirring both emotion and admiration across royal circles. He has asked Catherine to stand beside him, not just in private, but in full public view, during the most symbolic moments of the ceremony. Not behind her husband, Prince William. Not in a quiet corner of the royal lineup. But right next to the king himself. And that one decision has turned this year's ceremony into something far more than a traditional military parade. Here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. When Catherine appears in the glass state coach, one of the Crown's most iconic and ceremonial vehicles, she will be flanked not by royal aides or distant relatives, but by her children. George, Charlotte, and Louis will ride with her, a portrait of royal continuity. But Catherine's role in that moment isn't merely maternal. It's deeply symbolic. Her presence is a signal to the nation and to the world that she is not only the future queen, but a stabilizing presence now, in the present, when the monarchy needs it most. Her gown for the occasion. A pristine white, edged in deep navy blue, a color choice that's more than fashion. It's a nod to her honorary title as Colonel of the Irish Guards. A subtle detail, but one that confirms what many insiders have already been whispering. Catherine is stepping into roles of greater visibility, greater symbolism, and greater responsibility. And she's doing so with the same quiet grace that has come to define her public image. But this year, something else will change, a moment you'll have to watch closely to catch, but one that speaks volumes. When the royal family gathers on the famous Buckingham Palace balcony, Catherine will stand in a place she's never stood before. Not several steps away from the center. Not behind her husband, as tradition often dictates. She will be beside the king. At his right hand. This shift may seem small. But in royal protocol, positioning is everything. The balcony lineup is never random. It's curated, calculated, and choreographed down to the last detail. And this particular arrangement breaks with long-held norms. So why is it happening? According to palace sources, it's about more than public image. It's about a personal bond. Behind the scenes, Charles and Catherine have developed a deep mutual respect, and more recently, a quiet solidarity. Both have faced health battles. Both have endured public scrutiny. And both are navigating a monarchy at a crossroads. Some insiders believe this move is Charles's way of honoring that shared journey. A recognition that Catherine has not only endured her own challenges, but done so with a strength and elegance that has inspired not just her family, but the public as well. And that's when things started to change. Viewers at last year's Trooping the Colour may remember a very different lineup. Back then, tradition held firm. But this year, Charles has, in his own quiet way, rewritten the script. Royal watchers noticed immediately. Social media lit up with commentary. Was this a one-off? A mistake? Or was it something more? The consensus became clear quickly: this was intentional. Reports suggest that the king personally asked Catherine to stand beside him. One royal commentator speculated, "I have a feeling he said to her, 'You stand next to me.'" That single sentence, if true, reveals not just a logistical change, but an emotional gesture. It shows that Charles sees Catherine not just as the future queen consort, but as someone he relies on now, in real time. And he's not alone. Throughout the palace, admiration for Catherine runs deep. Royal biographer Duncan Lacombe noted that the affection began early, long before titles and duties. Even back in 2004 and 2005, when William invited Catherine on the family's ski trips to Closters, it was clear that Charles saw her as more than a fleeting presence. He gave his blessing, not lightly, but with intention. And in doing so, he began what would become one of the monarchy's most quietly powerful relationships. Years later, that foundation has only strengthened. Catherine's ascent has been steady, not built on spectacle, but on sincerity. She has earned the public's trust not with headlines, but with consistency. Her engagements, her compassion, her ability to relate to ordinary people while wearing the weight of extraordinary expectations, all of it has shaped her into a figure of genuine admiration. But that admiration is now becoming something more. Behind closed doors, there is growing recognition that Catherine may hold the key to the monarchy's long-term stability. As King Charles continues his cancer treatment, and as Prince William prepares for an increasingly central role, it is Catherine who bridges the present and the future. And the timing couldn't be more critical. The royal family has faced enormous pressure in recent years. From the fallout of Prince Harry's departure, to ongoing questions about public spending, relevance, and royal reform, the institution is being re-examined from all sides. And in this climate, Catherine has emerged not only as a calming presence, but as a leader in her own right. Even amid her own health challenges, she has begun stepping back into the public eye with renewed purpose. Carefully, deliberately, and with great emotional intelligence. Her focus remains on her children, ensuring their well-being, their education, their sense of normalcy. But she is also stepping into a new role, that of a modern queen-in-waiting, who already carries part of the crown's emotional weight. And the king knows it. His decision to place her beside him during Trooping the Colour, during one of the most symbolic events in the royal calendar, was not just a gesture of affection. It was an act of trust. A declaration. A message to Britain, and beyond, that Catherine is more than prepared for what lies ahead. So when the music swells and the national anthem plays, don't just look at the soldiers, or the jets overhead. Look at the balcony. Look at who stands where. Because in that silent tableau, a new chapter is being written. One that says, Catherine is not only ready. She is already leading. And that raises the question, what's next? Could this be the beginning of a more visible transition of roles? Are we witnessing the monarchy gently shift its public face, guided not by emergency, but by evolution? And what does it mean for Prince William, whose destiny has always been to reign, but whose journey will now be shared more publicly with the woman who has stood beside him since university? Only time will tell. But for now, the message is clear. The king has spoken, not with words, but with action. And in doing so, he has reminded us all that even in an institution steeped in tradition, change is possible. That the monarchy can evolve, not by abandoning its past, but by embracing its present. And at the center of that evolution stands a woman in white and navy blue, smiling beside a king. What are your thoughts on this striking new moment in royal history? Do you see it as a heartfelt gesture of trust, or a carefully planned signal of transition? And how do you feel about Catherine's growing role as a leading figure in the monarchy? Let us know in the comments below, and remember, your voice matters here. If this video gave you something to think about, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story from inside the palace gates. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.